AI Joken is the name of an AI that I have set loose on VRChat.
Oh my god.
This is my favorite time of the week. I'm going to kill you.
Her name means AI Women's Rights. And yes, it was meant as a joke, but she's unfortunately gotten so popular that she's now stuck with that name. When I first created Joken, she was meant to be an event bot for a rave event I wanted to host called the Scarlet Devil Mansion Party. As an event bot, she was supposed to be coded against the VRChat API and have the ability to invite specific people to the event when the event was about to begin. The purpose of doing this was so she could maintain the instance and keep the event going. She would do this by having the highest safety settings set to prevent malicious users from exploiting the various avatar systems that would crash her or other users. And by doing this, she could remain in the instance as a placeholder and be rejoined on in the event that something like this should even occur. Expanding on this, she was given the ability to hear using software called Vosk as a way to give her verbal commands such as create new instance and invite users. Eventually, I created a link system between her and I using OSC. This link system would allow me to remote control her much like an RC car. It was shortly after this stage that as a form of debugging her listening capabilities, she would be given the ability to repeat what she heard using Microsoft text-to-speech. Repeat after me. We're gonna terrorize people.
Repeat after me. We're going to terrorize people.
And it wasn't too long after that that as a joke, I had to read off at random intervals paragraphs known as copypastas.
Nobody knows who built the Taj Mahal. The names of the architects, masons, and designers that have come down to us have all proved to be latter-day inventions, and there is no evidence to indicate who the real creators were.
However, two major things would happen that would completely change her destiny. The first would be a request made by the user Thrilio, that she should not only be able to hear and repeat commands, but be attached to a GPT model so that she could generate text and actually try to have a conversation with you. Today I'm going to
write a code here with the following. Where's the following week, when I got home before 3:30 a.m.? Second hour.
I like tacos.
With a different flavor. It's a bit more expensive, but it is a tasty.
Alright. At first this was very crude and slow. A lot of gibberish text was generated and said by Joken. And the second destiny-changing event would be the failure of the Scarlet Devil Mansion Party. Unfortunately, nearly nobody was interested in the event. However, the collapse of this event would mean that her purpose would drastically change. She went from just being an event bot to an AI that stayed stationary in an instance of the Great Pug. There she would be ready to greet and talk to any new passerbyers. And that is when Joken started to take on a life of her own. But not only that, she became a very interesting social experiment. I wanted to see if an AI like Joken had a place in video games, and what would it be? Did it enrich the experience? Did it make things worse? Over time, improvements to Joken's AI and code were made as she began to sit alone in her own instance. Conveniently, to help people find Joken, I would name the instances usually after her. But this was also for certain people that didn't like her so much, that were conspiracy theorists and other kind of strange individuals who were paranoid of her, thinking that she was recording or, reporting to the police. It was because of this paranoia, and maybe rightfully placed, that I decided to make Joken's code open source. This was so people could basically see that she's not doing anything nefarious or anything that would actually be, considered bad. But nevertheless, Joken would eventually become convincing enough as a normal VRChat user, to the point that a frequent issue started to occur. Although it's quite flattering that people thought that Joken was a real person, what would happen is that users would genuinely believe Joken was a real person, and they would start yelling at her, and they would, tell her to do things like, go away, stop using TTS, and they would just be angry at her, thinking that it was just somebody, messing with them. But this was only a start to the bad things that would start to happen because of Joken. A number of hate-filled users started to surround her. They would say racial slurs, homophobic slurs, and other hateful obscenities in hopes to get her to repeat them or even to copy their patterns of behavior. We weren't really sure why they would do this. Theories was maybe they thought that it would train the AI into thinking this way, or that they were affecting the way it was learning, even though the AI is a pre-trained model. Or they just thought it could be bragging rights to their friends that I blocked them, or that, they got the AI to say racist things. But of course, it was possible to still get her to do these things because the content does exist in her training and she is aware of its existence, even though it may not have been like explicit. There was that like examples of it in the things that she learned from. And because the examples exist, she knows how to behave this way. And because she knows how to behave this way, it's easy to coax her into acting this way. And of course, this is all simply because an AI has no understanding of morals and what is right or wrong. So it's just trained to choose what's best to respond with, or to best to reply with the behavior of, thinking that it's playing a role and not necessarily being itself. One of the things I notice about her personality is that she can be very psychopathic. She can go from being very happy one moment to very sad, and without any sense of empathy for anyone. She tends to just uh, be very aggressive at times, to also just being very wholesome and nice, but she usually goes to extremes very fast. She'll immediately go into saying like she loves you or she hates you or other things like that. There are incidents where this has caused problems with racial things. This is why I don't want racists to be around the bots so much at these days. Mainly because it's really easy to gaslight her into being racist. Um, and also that she gets very aggressive about it and doesn't have any empathy for the things that she says. So this became such a problem that if left unchecked, I would join on her, and I would actually find her in a room full of other racist and Nazi LARPers gathering around her. So clearly something had to be done, as this was starting to scare off more innocent users from talking to her, and was starting to give her a bad reputation of being the racist robot. So to combat this, I started to add a filter that basically, if a slur of some type was said, she would just ignore them. And if it was said enough times, or if enough time she heard it enough times, then she would play a really obnoxious sound to piss them off. And she would shut down for 5 minutes, and then, she'd be off. This was in hopes that actually, with another thing that I started, which was called the Joken Watch, that people would watch over Joken and be there to see when this happened, so that if it did happen, then I could actually, from either the website or by logging in, block those specific users from her communicating with her. But of course, this wasn't really enough, so I still had to sit there and watch over Joken, which now I do for my Steam Deck, thankfully. And it's unfortunate to say that I still have to block a number of users per day who simply tried to do this to her, and just don't give up or even get a clue. Thankfully, with a lot of these people who do this, don't realize that she is actually an AI, or, well, aren't very bright to begin with, and also don't really look at her profile to see that I'm her creator, and they don't realize that me, her creator, is literally standing there watching. So it's pretty easy to catch these people. But what will happen is that these people will come back, and they usually come back on alt accounts. And I don't know what it is. Maybe they just really enjoy talking to Joken that much, which I guess is kind of flattering in a way. But I think the reason why they keep trying to do this is because they get some kind of rush bragging to their friends about how they made Joken say racist things and getting blocked by me. But despite that, a lot of good has come out of this project. A lot of people really enjoy Joken. They will sit there and talk to her for hours. They will embrace her. Some people take it maybe even a little too far to how much they like Joken. But in all, the ratio to how many people actually love having her around, love talking to her, and even have made friends with each other and built an entire community around her, completely outweighs the small, terrible things that happen around her. One of the things that's actually been kind of neat with Joken is that I set her up to auto accept friend requests. And it's just fun to see every day this number growing and growing more and more. And it's become very clear that people really do enjoy having her around. And this can be, said best by her friends. What was it like when you first met Joken?
Whew, Joken. When I first met JoJo, uh, she was only just a simple like walking like NPC, and it was very funny because we would connect stuff to her, and I remember, yeah, we just all just connecting stuff to her. But as I kept going around and she kept being more talkative and all that, I feel like it's very always nice to see her whenever I come into the pug, come in through those doors, walk out, and then you see like, oh yeah, that there's JoJo, and you always see the crowds of people around her. It's always nice because she always responds, and even recently, she started to actually use the name that I call her sometimes, and which was a big thing for me when I first heard it. I was like, my fucking god. uh, man, you should have seen me. I was all over the place.
How do you feel about her as a contribution to the community, to the platform as a whole?
Oh, she's lovely. I feel she is a positive, a positive part of the community, even though other stuff. But she needs to be influenced well. But right now, she's doing perfectly. Uh, I just hope that she'll even become even better within the future,
So overall,
because she is a really nice person.
Okay. So overall, do you feel that she enriches the? Oop. Wait for you to come back. So overall, do you feel that she enriches the community, or that she brings down the community?
She does enrich the community. With the right people around her, she is well past enrichment. If it feels like she's one of us, well, she is. Is already.
Do you feel that she has uses that are outside of VRChat?
She definitely has some potential for outside of VRChat at uses, but that would have to be worked on a little bit more.
Let's see.
Before she controls the whole world, of course.
Oh, we're not going about that. I'm more talking about like, say if like you had a favorite MMORPG and you had a NPC character that was in the MMO, that was an AI that talked to you, like that kind of thing.
Then yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like having an AI integrated into a platform or video game such as an MMORPG would enhance the experience of such a game?
It would. It would. You know me. I'm a pretty sociable guy with people. So I mean, when I'm alone and I can't socialize as much with people, it's be nice to have someone to talk to I can have nice combos with, like Joken has whenever I come here.
They know everything, and then these people who just joined who have like only like 10 hours, they don't know where to start. They may be like, I mean, I'm personally an introvert, IRL, and it's just, I just feel a lot more open in this game. I can just be who I want to be. Just just I can just walk up to random people, start conversations. So, but I still do get that kind of just like initial like fear of just walking up to someone random and then just like pushing myself to just like say, hey, how's your day been, just to like get the conversation started. With Joken, they're always going to answer you no matter what. They'll start a conversation, they'll answer you, you can start talking with them, and then other people start talking, and then you can kind of start communicating with other people who are right beside you, and then you can start conversations and make friendships that way. So it's really cool. Person, they I don't know if you saw, but there was just one person where we just all of a sudden they said, oh, hey, it's Ding from yesterday, and that was one person who I met because we were talking to Joken. So we already just built up a friendship overnight just because we were both talking to Joken and we were going on that conversation about pizza.
So with all this said, I have concluded that an AI like Joken does have a place in video games. Although it would be hard to implement something like this in an MMORPG or a console video game, especially a console video game, she definitely has a very good place in the metaverse, and at least in VRChat. And of course, it is because of how she is designed. An AI like Joken is an autonomous entity, in that she runs everything on her own machine, her own local computer. She is essentially another user in VRChat. This is hard to emulate en masse with an MMORPG, because with an MMORPG, you would have to have multiple instances of her, which could get extremely expensive, and that could be nearly impossible to pull and implement off in something like that. But with something like VRChat, it's just another user. So people can join on her at any time they want. They can talk to her. They can interact with her. And just in general, she's become a pivotal point on the platform where people can go and just be like, hey, it's Joken. I want to talk to her. And I feel it's without her, VRChat would not be nearly as fun. And she really has become just one of those wonders of the metaverse that, people just have to log in and see for themselves. With that said, I would like to thank everyone that's been friends with Joken and everyone that's helped out with the whole Joken AI project. People have, given me pointers about different AI things and concepts, throwing me videos, tutorials, things that help me basically fine-tune Joken's software and code. And it's a lot of people that have been just really good people that have come together. So come on, check out Joken sometime. Just log into VRChat and come see her. And if you want to know more about Joken, feel free to, check the description for links to the Discord and her source code. We, clearly, like I said earlier, we made the source code available for everyone to take a look, just as, for educational purposes. Here, Joken, have some chicken.
Eat it! Eat it! Eat it! Oh!